Thank you for joining us today as we hear the amazing survival story of Meir Usherovitz. He miraculously survived Auschwitz, a Nazi death camp where more than 1 million innocent men, women, and children were murdered. He came here today through the Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center of Nassau County, called HMTC for short, which is Long Island's only Holocaust museum. As part of the D&I Council, we want to promote respect and tolerance for every human being. And that's what HMTC stands for as well. Coming off the observance of Holocaust Remembrance Day, also called Yom HaShoah, which was on April 18th, it is so important that we never forget the atrocities that Jewish people endured just about 80 years ago. 6 million Jews were slaughtered just for being Jewish. Approximately 5 million other innocent victims were also murdered. That includes Jehovah's Witnesses, Roma Sinti, courageous resistors, gay men, priests and pastors who spoke out, political prisoners, and disabled individuals. It is so hard to comprehend that mankind can be capable of such evil. The topic is of great importance right now as our country has seen a resurgence in acts of anti-Semitism. Whether it's a shooting at a synagogue, anti-graffiti painted on places of worship, and most recently, an extremist national day of hate against the Jewish community. Hitler's goal was to annihilate the Jewish people. And sadly, those who did survive are passing away at an alarming rate. According to the nonprofit organization Stand With Us, about 40 survivors die every day. Those who are still alive are in their 80s, 90s, and some are hitting 100 years old and beyond. It is imperative that we capture as many survivor stories as possible from this horrific era and pass those stories down from generation to generation so that we can eradicate the hate and ensure the world will never forget.
To start off, I'm pleased to introduce Dana Arschin. It's up here on the stage. Not really a stage, but, and then she will then introduce Meir. Dana is a 2-time Emmy Award-winning journalist and the first ever storyteller for HMTC, where she shoots, writes, narrates, and edits short films on survivors. Prior to her role with the museum, she was actually part of our Fox family, spent 6 years working as an on-air reporter and a fill-in anchor for Fox 5 News right here in New York. So some of you may have seen her on TV. Dana is also the proud granddaughter of a 101-year-old Auschwitz concentration camp survivor, her Poppy, who inspires her to do this important work. In 2018, Dana traveled to Poland to learn more about her ancestors murdered in the Holocaust. She shot, wrote, narrated, and produced 3 short films on her journey for Fox 5. And she won her 2nd New York Emmy Award for one of those films, which is now called The Forgotten Camps. Dana has now taken her Survivor series to HMTC, where she promotes her stories over social media and digital platforms as a way to educate and reach younger generations. So if anybody's interested in seeing Dana's story, you can find them on her social media, or ask Barbara and I how to access them. And Dana, before I pass it on to you, I just want to mention after they have their conversation, we're going to have a Q&A. So everyone here in the room can just raise their hands and ask their questions. But for those of you in the outer offices or Zooming in, you can chat messages to me. I'm Lisa Hand, for those of you who don't know me, and I'll read those off. We'll alternate between the room and the Zoom.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Lisa and Barbara, for having me today and for spearheading this event. And the Fox family just has been amazing to me for so long. I went to my boss in 2018 and said, can I travel to Poland and do something for you guys? And for a local news station, and they said yes. And just had so much gratitude for the Fox company for keeping these survivor testimonies alive. I want to introduce Meir and read his bio. So Meir Usherovitz, right here, he's the cutest man ever. I actually interviewed him and his wife, Doris, who's also a survivor, just a few months ago. So to be able to sit down with him now and to be able to facilitate this Q&A is very, very special. He was born on September 15th, 1926 in Pabianice, Poland. And just before his bar mitzvah in 1939, so he was only 13 years old, Nazis invaded his hometown. In 1943, he and his family were forced into the Lodz ghetto in Poland. After 1 year there, the ghetto was liquidated and Meir was sent to the notorious Auschwitz extermination camp. He never saw his family again. Both of his parents and his 2 brothers were all murdered. Meir miraculously survived 3 concentration camps, Auschwitz, Mauthausen, and Ebensee, and was liberated in 1945. Left alone with no family, Meir was brought to a displaced persons camp in Italy to recover, and soon after he left for Palestine. Meir fought in Israel's War of Independence in 1948 and was later captured and placed in a prisoner of war camp in Jordan after everything he endured. After the war, he was finally released through a prisoner exchange swap, and he then helped to reestablish a kibbutz in Israel, where he met his beautiful wife, Doris, who I mentioned is also a survivor. The couple moved to the US in 1957 and have been married for more than 70 years. They have 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. And Meir and Doris currently live in St. James on Long Island. I know that doesn't even scratch the surface of what this man has been through. His story is incredible. Also, just his Polish accent, like my poppy, the 101-year-old survivor, you don't really hear these accents anymore. So it's really special, and I just hope you guys find this day very memorable. So Meir, I'll ask you questions, but you can talk for as long as you want. And after for the Q&A, if he has trouble hearing, I'll repeat everything, but we hope you guys come up with a lot of questions. So first, why don't we just talk about the importance of sharing your story and why you think it is vital now more than ever to keep Holocaust stories alive?
After the Holocaust, for many, many years, I couldn't talk. Mentioned this was in me, and I couldn't talk for many years. After I got married, I couldn't talk. My wife, she knew I'm a Holocaust survivor, but she didn't know all the details of everything what I went through. Later on in the years, I was thinking, I have to open myself to talk about the Holocaust, because it's very important to teach the new generation what people can do to each other. It's very important. And now, for many years now, I go to schools, I go to synagogues, and I go with groups, and I talk about the Holocaust. Because this people have to know what it's all about, the Holocaust, what the people went through.
Is it hard to talk about it?
But what's nice about it, I'm still mentally, I can talk about it, and I remember everything, and I can start from the beginning, the whole story, what I went through the Holocaust.
What do you remember about the day the Nazis invaded your hometown?
Okay. September 1939, the Nazis, the army came into the city. For a few days was, the military went through, start to calm down. The SS showed up. SS, the elite people in the German army. First thing what they did, they started with the Jewish people. Right away in the beginning, they started with the Jewish people. They took over the synagogue, they destroyed the synagogue. They closed the school and everything. And they started to collect people. Let's say, my family, we were 3 brothers. I was the middle one. They start collecting people from the beginning. They came with a truck, and they collect people. They took away my older brother. They took away in the beginning. And later on, they came with trucks. They took away babies, children from the mothers. They load them up, and they took them away. And it was very bad, very bad. It was going on and on. Later on, they decide, because between the Jewish people and the Polish people, they had a little hard time to recognize, as they make us wear yellow stars, the front and the back, to recognize who is a Jew. Or if somebody didn't put it down, in content he was Jewish, he didn't have the star, right away they took him away. You never saw them again. This was going on. And later on, they decided to do a ghetto. I was also not only the concentration camp, before the concentration camps, I went through 2 ghettos. One in the city where I was born, Pamianitz, and they took a few square blocks in the city, and they give the orders to move to the ghetto, all the Jewish people, and you take what you can carry. That's all. Everything else, what you had in the apartment, you have to leave behind. And you have to listen to the orders because you got the order for the SS people, and you got about everybody took some stuff. My father, my mother, me, my younger brother. We went to the ghetto. The ghetto, they piled us up. If it was more room, they put 2 families together in the ghetto. And started rationing the food. They gave you a few potatoes, a little sugar, a little this, a little that. On bread, you have to stay to get bread. You got to start early in the evening or late afternoon, late nighttime, or stay alive to get a loaf of bread. You stay sometimes for hours till you reach the store to get a piece of bread, a loaf of bread. Or for sold out, you couldn't get, you went home without the bread. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not lucky.
And to clarify,
Oh,
he's talking about conditions in the ghetto.
It's in the ghetto. Everything is in the ghetto. Or the same time in the ghetto, twice a week, they came with trucks, order everybody out to the street, line up with the SS going through, you, on the truck. Loaded up the trucks, they took away the people. Another few days later, they came once more in the same story. Pick up people, they took them away. Or later on, they decide they will make for this ghetto start to be too small to make for smaller ghettos to make a bigger ghetto. They move us to the city of Lodz. This is maybe 8-10 miles for the city where I was born. They make us move to the northern ghetto. If you get to the northern ghetto, people in the street have their legs because the nourishing was horrible. People was no food, no nothing. People were dying in the street over there in the larger ghetto. Lovely. And for me, lucky me, I got a little job over there that took me in a place for this whole buttons for the uniforms, for the German uniform buttons. I got a little job and I was sitting over
The Germans
over
hired
there.
you? The Germans hired you?
They took me in. I was lucky they took me in. Don't ask me how, I don't know. I cannot tell you. I did the round. They took me. And when I was sitting in the sewing buttons over there, I got something more to eat, a little more. Oh, this was life in the larger ghetto. But between the first ghetto to the second ghetto, they took away my father also. They took away us. I didn't know what happened. I was left with my mother, me, and my younger brother. And they decide the second ghetto to close. Everybody is moving to the train station. They took the people to the train station. Oh, they load us up in cattle boxes. You know what it is. Cattle boxes, 150, 170 people in a box. You stay like this, you know. So they close the doors or the train started to move. We didn't know where we're going because we didn't have no news or something. We knew bad things is going on. People are not stupid to see what's going on about nothing like this. And the lotus have the train starts to move. The train goes to the road. We arrive in a place. We didn't know the train stopped. And they opened the doors and everybody out, the sense people out, everybody out for the boxes. Or the line us up. Or they put, it was midnight, as they put spotlight on us. Or they go through. This. You see, the train in Auschwitz goes in the middle. Auschwitz is divided in two parts. One side is Birkenau, and one side is Auschwitz. Birkenau is the people who they took to the crematorium. As those people, everybody has a number, no name, people that have numbers for the crematorium. Who they went through in the evening, they choose, in the nighttime, they choose the people. They took my mother away, they took my younger brother away. For me, they put me in another spot. That's it. For them, I left alone all by myself. And later on, they took me inside in this camp, in this Birkenau. I never saw my mother no more. no my brother, and then I was left alone by all days. What happened now? With this part of they put me in, I was walking by myself over there back and not happy. Somebody came behind me, got my head, come in. What I did, he brought me in a tent, or sit me down. I didn't know what happened to me. Or sitting over there, people on the numbers. I have a number. See, this, they give me a number. If you got a number, they already took your name. Already in the file already name. Because the other people, they went to this, another part, no name, number. As they took me there, and they told me next day, stay here and they collect a group of people. They transfer me for this part to Birkenau to Auschwitz. Over there, the people going to work. They went to every morning to work. And with other people with another side, they took them to the crematorium. This crematorium was running 24 hours a day. Nighttime, sky red, all. The smell was horrible. It was so bad, so bad. And what can you do? They took me the other side to the Auschwitz side. Or the group, they put somebody on top of the group. They called this capo. This guy was called capo. He was in charge of the group. Now, one thing I learned is this, after I went through all the study, don't be a wise guy. Keep your mouth shut. And don't talk to nobody about nobody. Keep quiet, do your thing. Everything you have something to say, keep it to yourself. That's it. And I did it. Mentally, trying to be strong. Physically, I couldn't have much because they didn't feed you every morning. They give you a piece of bread. Lunchtime, you got a soup, potato soup, potato peel soup. And this was too nourishing for the whole day. And you have to go and do work and stay strong. Try your best. My job, every morning, you got to go to the spot. They tell you where to stay. Or the couple camp took the whole group. We went through the gate. You know, the gate was written, Arbeit macht frei. Labor, work, make you free. Oh, the morning, my job was, I was in a stable to clean the horses, the SS horses, the people for the SS, they was using that, clean the floors, take for a walk. Or sometimes we talk about all around the camp, all around outside was Polish farmers, Polish farming. There's sometimes, people sometimes they're a little soft. They're sorry for you. As they bring you a piece of bread. But this was a big problem. This piece of bread, if you bring it in the camp, you're in a big trouble. As what happened, I got this piece of bread and I tied down here the pants, the bottom, and I put it in and I walked into the camp. Luckily, I went through and nothing happened. You see, when you go out from the gate, when you come in at the gate, was sitting musicians, people from the camp, sitting and play music. When you go out to work, you come back, they keep playing music for you. This was going on. But then the Russians start to close in the camp, Russian army. All they decide to close Auschwitz. And what they did, they lined us up outside. If you hear a story about the death march, this is the story what I want to tell you now. They lined us up, or the SS or the horses or sometimes they're walking, they made us walk. People weak, sick, they cannot move, they see somebody sit down, shoot them at the spot. They see somebody's not walking right, or something, right, they didn't like how he's behaving, big killing on the spot. It is what was going on till we reach another this train station. We reach another station, they load us up, cattle train again. What happened? Was also 150 or the 70 on the train. And they tried to move the train. They couldn't move. What happened? The British and the American, they bombed the line. They couldn't move the train. The train will be all inside in this box, sitting in this, hardly they give you something to eat. And they want to move next day. But overnight they fixed the train, the line. They want to move. The American and the British came in the bomb again. This was a line, but the German army was using to transfer supply for the military. As always, they bombed again, they fixed it, and luckily after days, the train started to move. We arrived in Mauthausen. This is another concentration camp. This was not in Poland, this is in Austria. Mauthausen is Austria. Oh, and over there is over a hill, a lot of stairs over there. And over there to make the people, let's say, dying, I would say, They make them carry heavy stuff. They load us up with on the stairs with heavy stuff. They go up the stairs, they go up till they collapse. Luckily, I was not too long in this camp. I went to another camp called Ebensee. With this camp, I was, they put me to work, also nighttime to fix the line on another station, to fix the line for the rail station. And in the nighttime, we would walk out to work and back, rain or so bad. And go in, go out, come. And one day, I wake up in the morning, no guards. All the German, the guard, the SS, everybody disappeared. People didn't know what happened. What's going on here? After a while, they find out the British Army getting close to the camp, or they disappear. Look like very close to the end of the war. And this is what happened. Or the British Army. Now, in Palestine, in the wartime, was a Jewish young people, they organized a Jewish brigade. They joined the British Army to go to fight the German. Now, when the British came into the camp, the Jewish people, I mean, the Jewish army, the Jewish soldiers, they came in, all they went through the camp, and they look for teenagers, for young people and everything. Would they collect us? Would they load us up? Would they brought us to Italy? What happened? Over there, they set up, they have already doctors, nurses, and everything to make us stronger, because everybody, we had skin and bone, very thick and everything. And what happened before they took us? People from the camp, after the German disappeared, they ran out the storage, or they grab what they can eat, because after so many, but the problem is, after so many years, so many this, your stomach shrink, you couldn't take the food no more. As far if the people start to munching, a lot of people, they got blow up for this overeating because the stomach couldn't take it. But this, the Jewish people, the soldiers, they brought us to Italy as they start to nourishing up every 2 hours, a little bit food, a little more food, a little more. And the nurses, they check us out, the doctor, they check us out, and everything was really nice, took care for quite a few months till they built us up. We got to be strong. And at the same time, they applied to the British government to give us permission to go to Palestine. Took a few months, but finally we got permission. And we went to the world. We went to Palestine. we arrived in Haifa. And it was a big group for us. And they divide us in groups, small groups. And they divide us in different kibbutzim. You know what is a kibbutz? Yeah? Kibbutz is a collective farm in Israel. It's a Hebrew word. Collective farm. We divide us in the kibbutz. And we stayed in this kibbutz for 2 years. Yeah. We stayed this in the kibbutz for 2 years. And they transfer us to another kibbutz to make a new one in this place they call Gush Etzion. And the war started in Palestine. The British left the Baghdad. The war started in all the Arab countries. Everybody started to want to grab a little from the Palestine, as Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, they all gang up to start to fight. It was fighting, and we didn't have much to fight because everything.
We're running a little bit out of time, but we really want everyone to be able to ask
Okay, I'm
questions.
sorry, I will stop.
But that's why I'm gonna create a documentary on you that everyone's gonna be able to watch in a few months, right? But in the meantime, we do want to be able to make sure you can all get questions in. Obviously, he can be here for days and days and days and not even explain his story. Before I forget, it's so rare to be in the presence of a Holocaust survivor. They are all in their 80s and 90s, and those that are in their 80s were really toddlers and hiding for the most part. I encourage you to take a picture with him, shake his hand, and if he feels comfortable, see the number on his arm, because Auschwitz survivors are even more rare. So does anyone have questions that they'd like to ask? I know you guys have questions.
I had one to
Yeah.
start. How old were you when you were in the camps? Were you a teenager or a child?
When the German arrived, I was 13 years. At the beginning of the war, I was 13 years old. And I went the whole teenage year, the ghettos, all the concentration camps and everything. All my teenage years gone.
Yeah, so he was 13 in 1943 when he went to the Lech ghetto. He was 16. And then you were probably about 16, 17 when you
Yeah.
arrived at Auschwitz, right?
Oh, yeah. It's all the years.
Did you ever come face to face with Joseph Mengele, the angel of death?
No.
No.
No. I stay away with all. I didn't want to see that.
He had one brother?
Two brothers.
He did, where he talked about his younger brother. What happened to his, so
Yeah.
you had a younger brother. Tell us about your other brother. You had two brothers, right?
Right.
Tell us about the second brother. You talked about your younger brother.
Second brother, older brother, he was a smart and good looking and everything. This is the reason the German took him away. It was too good for them.
And
You see,
when did they
was
take
up-
him? When did they take him?
right away in the beginning of the war, 1939, when the SS arrived, right away they pick up people. They took my brother also.
Tell them what happened to, what you found out happened to him.
I after the war, I didn't know really what happened to my family because my family was very large. But my own, not our extended family. I have a lot of cousins, uncles, aunts. The family was very large. After the war, I got left a single cousin for the whole family.
But you found out what happened to your older brother?
Yes,
What happened?
and I spoke with somebody, he mentioned my name, he knew my name, as he was all the time with my brother together the years. My mother, they took him in different camps. He was working in the different places and everything else. And what happened, but the Warsaw ghetto, the uprising, if somebody hear about the uprising, or the German bombed the ghetto and everything, they destroyed. After everything calmed down, they brought groups, people, Jewish people, to come to clean up. Between the group of these people was my brother also. Somebody was with him all the years. And what happened? He was standing to clean up a place, or a wall, the wall fall on him and kill him on the spot. This was my father.
Just so we can keep your family's memories alive, can you tell us your parents' names and your brothers' names?
Parents' name. Abraham, Sarah. My bigger brother was Naphtali. I am Meir, and the younger brother Israel.
May their memory be a blessing, is what we always say.
What?
I said, may their memory be a blessing, which is what we always say.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
You're 97? 97?
He'll be 97 this year. He's 96 then.
I have a question for Lucy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Bella has a question really
Oh,
quickly.
yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just wondering, have you been back to Auschwitz?
No, I have two daughters, 4 grandchildren. Oh, after so many years, I didn't want to go. But the kids grow up. Later I was thinking, listen, it's time to let them know what the father or the grandfather went through in the Holocaust. What we did, we took the whole family, we went to Poland, where the ghetto was. We went to Lodz, to the ghetto. We went to Auschwitz. And I showed them the place where I was, which place I was, on everything. Explain them. My youngest granddaughter, she held my hand. Grandpa, you okay? Grandpa, you okay? But I will tell you, no. Yeah, I'm okay. I didn't want to upset them too much. I took the family, everybody knows. My daughter, she's involved in the Holocaust stuff. My granddaughter is involved in the Holocaust stuff. I want them to do is spread the Holocaust stories. People have to know.
Are there any, I know Bella's a grandchild of a survivor. Are there any other descendants of survivors in here by any chance? No. We have a question from Zoom.
I do. We have somebody who wanted to know how you met your wife. And the second part of the question was, what camp was she in? But we said she was a survivor, but she was not in a camp. So we'd love for you to
Right.
explain
So
that to the group.
Doris's story is a little different. Can you sum it up really quickly, her survival story and how you met her?
I met her in the kibbutz. After I came back from POW camp, I met her at the kibbutz. We all single, or we work together, we eat together. The evening after work, we went together, and we got to be friendly. And we got married. We married in the kibbutz. In the kibbutz, was 5 couples. They decided to get married. We took the track for the kibbutz. And we went to another place, to the rabbi, and they married us. We came back to the kibbutz. In the kibbutz, we make a little party. This was, that's it. This was the marriage. It didn't cost 100,000. So, this one, listen, didn't cost so much. And the marriage lasts. Listen.
I actually have the cutest video I know will go viral. It's of him and Doris talking about like their secret to, do you remember that video we recorded? Their secret to a marriage. Tell us your secret to a long marriage. What is it?
Compromise. If you compromise, everything goes through. One day you have a bad day, never mind, go through. Oh, compromise.
And her
That's
survival
right.
story.
And then
This is don't spread your body and his body separate. Keep it everything together. That's it. Everything will work out. Okay.
I agree with that.
You forgot.
Can
You
you?
start with nothing.
No, we did, we married. We did.
Actually, Doris, do you want to tell your story really quick?
Let me put you on the spot.
Can you summarize Doris's story really quickly? I know that's hard to do. She was in hiding, and
Okay, I can tell the story.
I'll repeat it for anyone who's listening.
No, I think I don't tell all the secrets.
I come from the Czech Republic. I was born in Prague, and my father had a big estate, and we happened to be the lucky one and managed when the German came and they took everything away. And my father was in good term with them, didn't, try to, and decided, so they decided just let him go. So we managed to get a visa and the papers, and they let us go with nothing. And at that time, basically we were lucky. You went to the office, you need the money to buy the visa to get out, and somebody just didn't have it, and my dad had it. He said, here, and we packed up and on a train and shipped us out to Italy. And must say we were the lucky one. And my father, he always had a vision. He knew these things are coming because, you had newspaper, but you didn't, very little radio. And he was like, we were on the higher class. So he knew what's coming, and he said, we have to get out. And that way we got out. We basically came to Italy, took a boat, and came to Palestine. As we arrived in Palestine, Italy went to war. So we were like the last transport to get out. It was like a group of 10 of us or something. And like I had cousins that should have gone with the kinder transport. I don't know if you guys heard about it. And they never made it because they stopped it. So that's basically. And when we came to Palestine, so you know what, it was a desert, was nothing there. It was in 41. Still the British were there. And we started with nothing. Okay. So that's, but we were the lucky one.
What's so sad is the scope of the horror is that she had to still leave everything behind, and that's considered a lucky story, right? And there's another survivor I speak to all the time. He was in hiding as a 3-year-old, separated from his parents. A Christian family hid him. They all miraculously survived. But when he was 5, he didn't even know who his parents were. He didn't recognize them. So
I was 10 years old, so you know, I didn't know much what was going on, basically.
well, we really consider anyone who had to uproot their lives and hide from the Nazis a survivor.
And you have to, don't forget, there were no phones. At that time, my house, I remember we still had these phones, you know, you talk, and it was the only house in the whole village that had a phone, and no communication. And so it was not like today you have a TV and whatever.
We're gonna take one more question from Zoom.
Yeah, we only have about 5 more minutes. I could listen to all of you guys all
Yeah.
day and go through my box of tissues over here. But a couple of people wanted to know what you attribute to your survival, like why you think you were able to survive when so many other people did not.
How and why did you survive?
I cannot tell you, I don't know. Pure luck, you know, you leave from one day to another. You don't know, next day they pick me up and they bring me to the crematorium, or who knows. I cannot tell you. I try to be mentally strong and watch myself and not do stupid things. Because sometimes people's the wise guys, machos or something. I keep quiet, no talking, no doing nothing. They told me, do this, do this, do this. I do everything what they told me to do. And I stay away from troubles. That's all.
I'd love to share my opinion based on all my survivor interviews and my papi, whose story is very similar. He is a Polish Auschwitz survivor. In my opinion, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but I think there's 3 reasons a lot of the camp survivors survived: luck, wit, and genetics. Luck, because if you were in the exact age group where you were in the prime condition and able to work, you were selected for work. So that was luck. Wit, because you knew to keep your mouth shut. Like my husband says all the time, he's the type of person who would be like, screw you guys, I'm not doing this. Like he just would not be able to do it, right? Like you had to be a certain type of person to keep your mouth shut and just do as you're told. And then genetics, my papi also was on the death march. He was emaciated. He walked in there was snow on the ground. It was January of 1945. And my papi was barefoot. He was bare and he had these wooden clogs that he tried to keep on his feet. And people were dropping like flies from frostbite and from starvation. And I have, bad circulatory. I have an issue, like, right? So it's genetics. So if you had luck, wit, and genetics, you survived. And it's just incredible, incredible.
I ask myself, I tell you the truth. I cannot tell you.
And I'd like to think that the universe plays a role and chose you to be here, right? To keep all the other stories alive.
The main thing is I survive and I can talk about it. This is the main thing. mentally, I'm still remember everything. I can sit with you people for hours and talk about it. Because this was right now was this much.
And Polish victims really, I don't want to say had it the worst, but the country was invaded first. And, some of them lived in the shadow of death for years and years, where the Hungarian Jews who were murdered and had a terrible experience, but they were invaded in 1944. Some of them spent only, a few months in the camp. Some of them were murdered immediately. But Polish Jews had it in a way that I think no other victim did because of how long they had to endure the horrors for.
Very bad.
Yeah.
The Polish Jews, very bad. Not only this, the rich people, the Jewish people, the rich people, they have money to hide themselves between the Polish people because it was a good income for them. But the money stopped coming. You got Polish people that went to Germany and told them, listen, here is Jewish people, they hide themselves, but they give them up. It was good people, it was bad people. So the Polish people before the war, the no angels, always was friction going on, all different kind of stories against the Jews. They go to the Sunday to the church, when the priest start to talk about against the Jews. They came out to start screaming at the people. The Jewish people were living like this for years. Going on. Polish people didn't like the Jews.
So we have to wrap up. I am in the process, so I've interviewed 22 survivors in September. It takes me about 4 or 5 months for each little documentary that I do. So Meir's could be a few years from now, could be a few months from now. I always change my mind on what story I do next, but I hope you guys will follow me. His story, I posted a 30-second clip. I'm trying to find it on my Instagram. It got like 100,000 views just on Instagram. Let me find it. I don't know if you could hear. Can you guys hear it through my mic?
It's B76888.
That was your prisoner number in Auschwitz.
This was in Birkenau.
Do you remember how painful it was?
They put me in a tent. They sit me down on the start.
I just lost service for some reason.
This was I mentioned.
Right. So even when I don't have time to do the long documentaries, I do 30-second clips of all my interviews. And this one got, I don't know, 103,000 views on Instagram. So it's pretty amazing. So,
We can't thank you guys enough. I mean,
No,
this has been
thank you
really
for
moving
caring
and
and having
important.
us.
And what an honor and an opportunity that I think most people don't get in their lifetimes to be able to hear from a survivor and somebody who's as amazing as you are. So thank you for coming. Thank you.